Welcome to the Explainer. You know, in the world of investing, we hear about volatility all the time. But what if I told you the real risk, the one that can actually knock you out of the game for good, is something most people don't even look at? Today, we're going to break down that hidden danger.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with a simple question to get us started. Take a look at these two investment portfolios. You got to pick one. Which one's the winner?
Now, here's where it gets interesting. If you look at the standard numbers, average annual return, volatility, these two portfolios look exactly the same. They're identical on paper, but one of them is way more dangerous than the other. It's practically a ticking time bomb. The real question isn't which one to pick, but why they're so different.
And the answer, the hidden variable here, is something called drawdown. See, it's not about the average result at the end of the year. It's about the journey your money takes to get there. Because the path, the sequence of your returns, well, that's everything. It's literally the difference between staying in the game and going bust.
So what even is drawdown? Think of it like this. Volatility is just noise. It's the market bouncing around day to day. Annoying, sure, but it's temporary. Drawdown, on the other hand, is the actual damage. It measures how far your account has fallen from its absolute highest point. It's not just a number on a screen, it's a real wound to your capital.
And that's really the key difference right here. Volatility, it comes and it goes. It's just the price of admission you pay to be in the market. But a drawdown, that's totally different. It sticks with you, it's a cumulative wound to your capital, and once that wound is deep enough, it changes your ability to keep going.
Which brings us to the most critical, and honestly, the most misunderstood part of this whole thing, the absolutely brutal math of recovering from a loss. Getting this wrong is what sinks so many people.
Now there's a formula for it, but don't get hung up on the algebra. You don't need to memorize it. What you need to understand is the relationship it shows us. As your losses get bigger, the gains you need to get back to even don't just go up, they explode. They grow exponentially, and that's where the danger is.
And here it is. You can see that brutal math in action. A 20% loss. Okay, you need a 25% gain to get back to where you started. That feels doable, right? But what if you lose 50%? You don't need a 50% gain back. You need a 100% gain. You have to double your remaining money just to break even. And if you lose 75%, well, good luck. You now need a 300% gain. The hole just becomes almost impossible to climb out of.
And this right here is why we have to completely redefine what the word ruin means. Ruin isn't your account balance hitting zero. No. Ruin is the point where that recovery math becomes so punishing that you are effectively, for all intents and purposes, out of the game, long before the money's actually all gone.
So if ruin isn't zero, then what is it? Where is that real-world line in the sand that forces you to just throw in the towel, even if you still have some chips left on the table?
Well, in the real world, ruin often looks like one of these things. You might get a margin call you can't pay, or maybe you breach a risk limit your fund has. It could be something external, but honestly, just as often, it's the last one. Psychological break. You just hit a point where you can't take the pain of losing anymore, and you quit. That's ruin.
So all of this, it leads to this profound fundamental shift in how you have to think, and it's captured perfectly in this one idea. Once you really truly understand drawdown, your goal just changes. It's no longer about squeezing out the highest possible return. Your number one job becomes just survival.
So, how do we actually put this into practice? Well, it means we need a whole new framework for thinking about risk. The focus has to shift away from chasing those big gains and toward aggressively controlling our drawdowns. The whole point is just to stay in the game.
A survival-first strategy really comes down to these three rules. First, you have to put a hard limit on your losses, a cap that keeps them in a zone you can realistically recover from. Second, you have to design your strategy to fail slowly. You need time to see what's wrong and react. And third, you have to stay far away from those ruin boundaries we just talked about. This is what buys you the time for your edge to actually play out.
And that leaves us with one final and I think really important question to ask yourself. When you look at your own approach, whether it's in investing, your career, or anything else, ask yourself, is it designed only to maximize returns, or is it built first and foremost to survive? Because at the end of the day, surviving the storms is the only way you'll be around to enjoy the sunshine.